Okay, we've been talking about Sartre, his idea of being and nothingness, or the en soi and the pour soi, or the something and the nothing that is human consciousness, and then the something that is reality, right? And we can think about that in two ways: the nothing that is our freedom as transcendent beings, but also the nothing that is the difference that gives things meaning. Remember back to Heidegger, that things are only things only have meaning insofar as they're differentiated from other things. That is, every determination is simultaneously a negation. So this pen is ultimately identical with itself by being different from everything else. Anyway, we talked about, this is Sartre's metaphysics, if you will, being and nothing, something and nothing. And he asks the question, why is there nothing? And what he's interested in is the relation, or rather irrelation, between being and nothing, namely the fact that they cannot be related. Okay, this is the interesting thing about Sartre, that for him, the coolest thing about existence is that there's nothing. But then very quickly, that there's this nothing that creates meaning and freedom. But the big problem is that nothing and something can never come together. There can never be a synthesis between nothing and something, that is, between our soul, if you will, and our body. That is, and the fact that when we try to bring these things together, this is the sort of conundrum of human existence for Sartre. And he calls this, well, Camus calls this the absurd. Sartre calls it nausea. It's nauseating that something and nothing can't come together, that there can be no synthesis. And there's a great section from Being and Nothingness I just want to read right now that sort of summarizes Sartre's absurdism, if you will, and the nausea of this absurdism, that the human being can't ever really be anything. This is the pointlessness and the nihilism of Sartre, that no matter how hard we strive to actually be, we strive to incarnate ourselves, we strive to be the possibilities that we take up, because that's what freedom really is. It's that we project possibilities, that we imagine possible selves, that we construct and deconstruct selves. But this is the absurdity of human existence. No matter how hard we try, with our freedom, we can't construct the self. We can't ever be the possibilities that we choose. Why? Because we always transcend them. Think about this. Anything I ever choose and be, I'm in time, and so I have to choose it again. I have to choose it again, so I'm never done becoming. I can never be. I'm in the process of constantly becoming. This is, for Sartre, the absurd. This is the absurd. And this is what's nauseating about existence. Okay, here's the passage I wanted to read that sums up this problem of uniting nothing and something together, which he'll later call bad faith, the irrelation or the absurdity, the nauseating feeling that comes from this. He says, every human reality is a passion, in that it projects losing itself so as to found being, and by the same stroke to constitute the in itself, the something, the body, the possibility, which escapes contingency by being its own foundation, the ens causa sui, that is the self-cause, the being that causes itself, which religions call God. Thus, the passion of the human being is the reverse of that of Christ, for the human being loses itself as the human being in order that God may be born. But the idea of God is contradictory, and we lose ourselves in vain. The human being is a useless passion. The human being is a useless passion. What does Sartre mean? Well, what he's saying here is that we're nothing. Our freedom is such that we constantly are free to possibilize ourselves and choose possibilities and to take up possible ways to be. But the problem is it's a useless passion, because no matter what we choose, we can never be that choice. That's what Sartre calls the absurd, or that which nauseates us, the irrelation between being and something, and it's what he calls bad faith. Bad faith. The human being is constantly in bad faith. What's bad faith? Metaphysically, bad faith is the failed synthesis of something and nothing, or the failed synthesis of our soul and body, or the failed synthesis of our trying to be something when we're constantly becoming. We constantly transcend ourselves, and we transcend the transcendence that we ourselves are. We transcend the transcendence that we ourselves are. We can never identify with any possible way to be.